second graders, Mrs. Fusco here. I thought this week I would share with you a read aloud, and it's by one of my favorite authors, Beth Ferry. And the story is called Swashby and the Sea, and it's about a little girl and a retired means they don't have to work anymore. They've worked so long that now it's time to kind of relax. A retired sea captain, and they kind of become friends in a weird way with a little help from the ocean. So while we're reading, I want you to think about some character traits that you would use to describe Swashby and his new little friend. Let's read to find out how these two become friends. Captain Swashby loved the sea. The sea and he had been friends for a long, long time. She knew him in and out, up and down, and better than anyone. So when Swashby retired, it was to a small house on a small beach, as close as the sea as he could be. Whenever he needed something, the sea provided exactly the right thing at exactly the right time. Life was just the way Swashby liked it. Salty and sandy and serene. Serene's a juicy word for calm and quiet, until squeaks and squeals sprang from the empty house next door, which was no longer empty. It had been commandeered. Commandeered means taken over, by a girl and her granny, who planted umbrellas, scattered beach chairs, and boarded Swashby's deck without permission. Swashby battened down the hatches and hid when the doorbell rang, and fed their oatmeal cookies to the gulls. He didn't need neighbors. He didn't want neighbors. Neighbors were nosy, a nuisance, annoying. So in return, he left a message written clearly in the sand: "No trespassing," which the sea fiddled with just a little bit. "Sing," the girl read, and did just that. She sang every song she knew while dancing up and down Swashby's deck. Do you see what the ocean did? Even the ocean breaks words into smaller parts. It covered everything up except the last word chunk. Sing. Tricky ocean. "What now?" she asked. "Now, vanish," Swashby wrote later that evening, adding a starfish exclamation point. And the sea fiddled just a little. Have you guys been thinking of character traits that you would use for Swashby? If I had to pick two, I would say grumpy and unfriendly. He does not seem to want to make friends, be friends, kind of just mean. But then, if I were to think of the little girl, I would kind of use the opposite character traits. She is very friendly and outgoing. Outgoing means you just go right up to people and start talking to them. So she's really not afraid to go out and talk to new people. So I would definitely think that I would use the words outgoing and perhaps energetic. She likes to sing and dance and yell. So those are the words I would use to describe our characters so far. Let's see if they change or if they stay the same. "What-ish," the girl read, picking up the starfish, and did just that. She closed her eyes and began, "I wish—" "No, no," Swashby interrupted, stomping down the steps. "If ye mean to make a starfish wish, ye must say this: 'Starfish back to waves so blue, the sea will see a wish come true.'" "How lovely," Granny said. We wish you'd come for a cup of tea, Mr. Swashby. But Swashby wished to be left alone. So he grumbled and mumbled and hurried inside. He didn't need tea. He didn't want tea. Tea was civilized, friendly, neighborly. What he needed was a new message. Please go away, he wrote firmly in the sand. And once again, the sea fiddled just a little. Check out that picture. What did the ocean do? She erased some of the letters again. Pull A, the girl sounded out, and did just that. With Swashby's shells and stones, with his buckets and shovels, but her towers kept falling. Barnacle bottom, Swashby muttered, marching out. You doing it all wrong. You must not use the sun-baked sand. It's the sea sand that does the trick. And he showed her how to dig for the wet sand below. Whoa, look at that sand castle that they made. It's so beautiful. But Swashby was gone. Before long, amazing sculptures decorated the beach. It's the clam shells ye should be using, Swashby called from inside. Come play, Mr. Swashby, the girl called back. Swashabys don't play, he answered, banging the shutters. So the sea decided to meddle more than just a little. She inched her way up the sand and tickled the girl's toes. She nibbled on the sculptures and slurped away the bucket. The girl tried to grab it, but look at me, the girl called. Look at her, Granny gasped. Oh dear, look at her. Granny hurried to the water's edge, but Swashby was already there. Do you see what the ocean is doing? She keeps bringing Swashby and the little girl together for some reason. And think back to the beginning of the story, when it told us that the sea always gave Swashby exactly what he needed. Maybe he needs that little girl. Make him be a little less unfriendly. Let's read to find out what happens. What are ye up to, ye great salty imp? He asked, scooping up the girl in the bucket. With a great big wave, the sea delivered the pair back to the shore, and there was no stopping the laughing and thanking and hugging that was Swashby's reward. I see what you did, he whispered to the sea as he was whisked away to celebrate. Oh, so Swashby's noticing what the ocean is doing. After that, it was easy for Swashby to have tea with the girl and her granny, and ice cream and lobster and s'mores on the beach. It was easy for him to share his special sea glass. It was even easy for him to see that neighbors could be fun and friends and family. This is the first page that Swashby seems a little different. Look at his face. He's actually smiling. And it says that he's sharing, and he looks like he's being friendly. It looks like if I was to choose character traits now at the end of the story, I would use different character traits. Maybe I might use protective, right? He kind of protected the girl from the ocean and helped her. and he kind of looks cheerful because he has that jolly smile on his face. Oh, I'm really happy that he found someone to share his time with. And when he had a moment to himself, Swashby carved a heartfelt message for the sea. Thank ye, friend, which the sea fiddled with just a little bit. Why do you think he's thanking the sea? I think he's thanking him for his new friends on the land. His only friend had always been the ocean, but I think the ocean realized that maybe Swashby needed some friends on land. And it seems like the little girl and her granny are the perfect pair for him. The end. I hope you guys like that story. It's a new story that I just found, and like I said, she's one of my favorite authors because she uses lots of juicy words, and I just really love the story and how Swashby changes from an unfriendly, grumpy old man into a protective, caring, happy, retired sea captain. And I kind of like the message that the story tells, that sometimes other people might be able to see something that you might need that you don't see yourself. So Swashby didn't think that he needed friends or neighbors or someone to spend his time with, but the ocean, the person that, well, she's not really a person, but the thing that knew him the very best in his whole entire life, saw that he was lonely, and sometimes people around you can help you be happier. So make sure you're paying attention to these little clues and hints in your own life that maybe there's something you might need to do. But I hope you enjoyed our story. Be on the lookout next week for a special message from Miss Rocco, Miss Bancheri, and I. And until next week, keep reading. Bye, second graders.